Enjoy the last nice warm day across Texas because Crashy the cold front is about to blast on in, and we're going to stay cold for quite a while. Oh, and by the way, the potential for a winter storm is increasing next week. In parts of the state, we don't usually see winter weather. Let's talk about it in this Friday edition of the Texas Weather Roundup. Hello, and hello to you. It is Friday, the 17th of January, 2025. I'm Texas Storm Chasers Bully-in-Chief David Reimer, and guess what? We do have some interesting weather to discuss. Thankfully, nothing that involves spinny doom-dooms, but a lot of slicky doom-doom into the ditch you go issues. Well, we may be dealing with some of that over the next several days into next week, but for today, it's about the heat, the wind, my phone alarm going off, and the potential for increased wildfire danger. The Texas A&M Forest Service is forecasting very high to extreme fire danger this afternoon across portions of the Panhandle, Northwest Texas, West Texas, the Permian Basin, the Concho Valley, down to the Big Bend, the Trans-Pecos, the Guadalupe-Davis Mountains, and to the borderland of far West Texas. That's due to high temperatures at about 15 to 20 degrees above average for mid-January, dormant winter fuels, and gusty winds. Oh, and the fact it's drier than a popcorn fart out there in the humidity department. So, good news is most of these issues should be resolving themselves as we get into tomorrow and Sunday, so this should not be a long duration fire weather event, but we may have some issues today, so please be mindful of that and try not to accidentally burn down half your county, please, and thank you. Here's the high-res rapid refresh model for the next few days, the HER, as it is so elegantly called by yours truly. We are expecting not a whole lot of precipitation across the state. You can see, maybe some light showers at times. Then Crashy the cold front comes blasting on in tonight into tomorrow across the state with gusty north winds. Maybe a few snow showers in the Panhandle. But you can see, really, not a whole lot of snow showing up for Saturday night into Sunday morning up in the Panhandle. We do have the potential for maybe a ½ inch to an inch of snow in spots, but this model so far is not being particularly ambitious with that. You can see almost some snow squall-like behavior versus a larger area of snow. So we'll have to keep an eye out for some localized small bands of snow Saturday night into Sunday morning in the Panhandle. Otherwise, this will be a dry, cold front, and you're going to know it's here when temperatures fall out of the 50s, 60s, 70s into the 20s and 30s. Because it's going to be cold, and the wind chills are going to be particularly unpleasant over the next, well, I guess 7 days? Sorry. Yeah, it's going to be one of those cold fronts. All right, let's just get into the timing elements in the extended range from the American Weather Model, the Global Forecast System. Guess what? Most of Sunday is going to be dry. In fact, all of Sunday should be dry across the state. Cold, chilly, wind chills in the unpleasant territory, but dry. As we go into Monday, well, this is when things could get a little interesting. I'm going to go ahead and pause this magical super duper thing here. I'm going to actually scroll back a wee bit farther back. Good enough. Here's 6 p.m. Monday. Now notice, well, before we notice what the scary colors of doom mean, let's talk about what they don't mean. We're still talking about an event 72 to 96 hours away. That may work perfectly well trying to forecast winter weather up in the northern United States, but down here in Texas, as last week was so kind to remind everyone, guess what? Forecasting winter weather even inside 24 hours in Texas is going to involve surprises that we just simply can't account for in most cases. So, before we all get nitpicky on exactly what is shown here on a model 4 to 5 days out, let us keep in mind it is going to change. Nothing is written in stone. We're only looking for the trends at this point. And while we are beginning to get closer in, starting to hone in on some details, there is still a whole lot of things we just can't accurately tell you right now at this time range without a vast amount of uncertainty. So with those caveats, disclaimers, whatever you want to call them, introduced, let's actually look at it. Now this is 6 p.m. Monday. Global Forecast System, the runs overnight into this morning have become a little more aggressive with the possibility of precipitation back in central Texas, the Hill Country, the Brazos Valley, Monday afternoon into early Monday evening. Temperatures along and north of really Interstate 10 from, the Hill Country, south central Texas through Houston would be at or below freezing. to a point where we could see a mix of sleet snow. North of that line. South of that line, down to South Texas, the coastal bend, it is going to be cold, but just above freezing enough to keep things a liquid rain. Reason I mention this is this isn't a guarantee. We're really not super confident in the amount of moisture available for this. We're going to have a lot of dry air in place. So if we have more dry air in place, that would tend to keep the precipitation lighter. Vice versa, and kind of what this is trying to start showing is we may have a little more moisture in place that could allow for things to start a little earlier, farther west, and maybe introduce some light winter weather accumulations along I-35, southern North Texas, the Hill Country, central Texas, the Brazos Valley. We're just going to have to wait and see. But we're going to have to see what the trends are as we continue through the day and tonight. But clearly, if this is the case, we're probably going to have some travel issues by Monday afternoon. Parts of central Texas, the Brazos Valley, Hill Country, maybe even into southeast Texas. Now, as we continue on, here's 9 p.m. You could see this actually has, now most of this would be light snow with pockets of moderate snow across essentially along and south of Interstate 20. Yes, I did say along and south of Interstate 20. Central Texas, southern North Texas, the Hill Country, the Brazos Valley, East Texas, Southeast Texas. We'd have a winter mix. Sleet, snow falling San Antonio, Austin, snow in Bryan College Station, snow line down in Houston. So the southern half of the Houston metro may be seeing rain, snow mix. Northern half of the metro could be seeing sleet and snow. Don't you love trying to think of these details? Hint, whatever I tell you now at the 96-hour range is most definitely going to change by the time we get into Monday morning. So I'm just giving you the overview of trends. We're not trying to actually nitpick this down to that specific of a locality yet. Now, here's where things get fun. Notice we go from the light snow to, oh, look, it's a winter storm as we get into Tuesday morning. Precipitation intensities increase across central Texas, the Brazos Valley, East Texas, Southeast Texas, the Hill Country, South Central Texas. We'd have a winter mix with travel difficulties underway. I-10. Pretty much from Junction through San Antonio all the way through Houston. We could have sleet and snow falling in Port Arthur and Beaumont. And for what it's worth, this would even result in the chance of accumulating snow in New Orleans later Tuesday. Snow falling all the way up to I-20. Notice most of this would stay south of DFW. And then as we go into Tuesday morning, you can see we actually switch over to a very heavy wet snow in Houston. If this is right, this would be kind of like what we saw in northern DFW last week, where we had that real heavy wet snow falling, and it was able to accumulate more quickly than it could melt. This would actually be a legit snowstorm for southeast Texas, the Golden Triangle, Bryan College Station, Sealy, Houston. We could have a rain-snow mix in Galveston. We could have snow in Port Arthur, Beaumont, Jasper, Lufkin, Cleveland, if this is right. And the trends are favoring that direction. We'd have precipitation exiting San Antonio and Austin by this point. And then as we go through the day Tuesday, you can see things would generally try to move out of the state by lunchtime Tuesday. It's not a guarantee, but for what it's worth, note a heavy snow all the way into the Gulf of Mexico off Louisiana. We'd have heavy snow, Lake Charles, New Orleans. I was just there for a weather conference this week. They'd have a snowstorm. They'd begin heavy wet snow in New Orleans. So yeah, this may end up being one of these interesting Gulf Coast snowstorms. The potential's there. It's not a guarantee, but things are getting interesting now. So after that, guess what? We're dry. Rest of Tuesday would be dry. Wednesday would be dry. And we might have another storm system try to say hello Thursday into Friday. And the cold air might still be in place. So we're not going to touch that yet because, frankly, we need to get through this first system before we start trying to nitpick out in voodoo weather model land. But you can kind of see that inkling here with that data. So now that we've taken a look at the latest GFS, and by the way, that's just one model out of, including the ensembles and the other deterministics, over 100. So instead of me just trying to show you what that shows, let's actually take a look at the potential for some snow. And that's what we're going to do right now. And I actually did check this. I confirmed I had updated all these files. So now I can definitely say without a doubt there is a bug in this program not saving some of my settings. So before those of you come on here and say I'm clumsy, well, at least now we've confirmed we have a bug in this program. But instead of me being all fancy and editing that out and just splicing it together, I'm just going to let you get to listen to me yibby yab, and we'll just keep on going. Welcome to Friday in Baldy Chiefisms. Now, here is a blend of all the data from earlier this morning. This takes all the deterministic weather models, the American, the Canadian, the European, I think even the United Kingdom, their ensembles, throws it all into a giant blender, and here we go with probability maps. Now, just because you have high probabilities of something now doesn't mean squat when we get into Monday morning. We saw that last week where we had pretty good model agreement 4 days out. Everyone and their mama started posting snow maps with a foot of snow in DFW, and guess what? Most of DFW got an inch of snow if they were lucky. Northern parts of DFW got more, but that's called mesoscale banding, which we cannot accurately predict at this time. Now, here's the probability maps for at least 1/100th of an inch of ice, freezing rain, as we go into Monday night and Tuesday. And the reason I'm showing this is to demonstrate we do have the potential for some travel difficulties due to light ice accumulations in South Texas, South Central Texas, including the San Antonio Metro, the coastal plains, the Victoria Crossroads, the Houston Metro, the Golden Triangle, where we could see a winter mix, including some ice. Now, we're not looking at a lot of ice here, maybe a few hundredths of an inch. That's not enough to knock trees down, weigh down power lines to the point of infrastructure failure, but it is enough to turn things into ice skating rinks, especially bridges, elevated surfaces, overpasses. So this would be a travel impact issue if it happens. And we're going to watch. We'll watch the trends as we go through the weekend, but note that some of these areas do have a greater than 50-50 shot, San Antonio, Victoria to Houston, of at least some ice accumulations Monday night to Tuesday. Now, here's where things have gotten a little more interesting in the snow department. Confidence is increasing now that we could see a legit winter storm impact portions of the southeastern, third of the state. At this point, probabilities have increased to over 40 to 50% that we could see at least an inch of snow in parts of the Brazos Valley, southeast Texas, the piney woods of East Texas, the Golden Triangle, Bastrop, Houston, Lufkin, Beaumont, Port Arthur, Jasper, Cleveland, Bryan, College Station, with even some low probabilities under about 30% back into North Texas, Central Texas, the Eastern Hill Country, even some very low probabilities down into Corpus Christi for an inch of snow. And again, this is for at least an inch of snow, meaning some of y'all may, even if you're in the lower probability zones, y'all may end up with at least, enough candy coating to where everything looks white. And again, legit winter storm, Louisiana, Southeast Texas, Golden Triangle, and the Mississippi, South Alabama. This may be one that brings, accumulating snow to places like New Orleans, Jackson, Mississippi. I mean, it may be snowing in Mobile, Alabama later Tuesday if this is right. So that's what the trends are for now. They're improving if you're a snow lover in the southeastern portions of the state. Now, for some other similarity purposes, whatever you want to call it, mind fog, here's the probability of at least 3 inches of snow. Now, we're not trying to get super nitpicky here, but we can at least start looking. There is at least a 30% chance parts of you in southeast Texas, the Golden Triangle, the piney woods of East Texas, could see at least 3 inches of snow accumulation Monday night to Tuesday, which would be quite impressive for y'all, no doubt. Louisiana, same thing. So the overall probabilities of a winter storm impacting, East Texas, Southeast Texas, even back maybe into parts of Central Texas, the Hill Country, the Brazos Valley, the Golden Triangle, the piney woods of East Texas, the coastal plains, the Victoria Crossroads, even parts of South Texas, as we go into Monday night and Tuesday, are increasing. And with that would come disruptions to travel. This doesn't look like a big ice storm that would take down the power grid because of damage, but this would be something that would cause issues with travel. All right, On a completely different note, here's today's high temperature forecast across the state of Texas. Guess what? It's going to be in the 60s, 70s, and even 80s. Enjoy it because we're not going to be that warm again for a very long time. Here are buttons. Here's tomorrow's high temperature forecast across state. Now, this is after 6 a.m. Saturday, which means anything onward from 6 a.m. Saturday, this is your high temperature, which means at this point, the cold front by 6 a.m. is probably going to be through the northern two-thirds of Texas. If not, it will be shortly thereafter. Temperatures will not get above freezing again Saturday in the Panhandle of West Texas, and frankly, may not get above freezing there until sometime late next week. Highs only in the 40s. Northern third of the state dropping into the 30s by the afternoon. Southern half of the state, well, guess what? Y'all get high temperatures, 60s, 70s, even 80s. Everyone except deep south Texas, you'll be dropping by late tomorrow afternoon. So enjoy the warmth while you can. As we get into Sunday morning, temperatures into the single digits and low teens. Panhandle West Texas, wind chills could be 10 below. Lows down to the teens and 20s, northwestern half of Texas, wind chills into the single digits and teens. Some folks may have wind chills closer to 0. Southeastern half of the state, lows mostly in the upper 20s to 30s, while those of you in the Rio Grande Valley, deep south Texas, you'll have lows in the 40s. Enjoy it because it's going to get colder. Here's Sunday's high temperature forecast. Highs knocking above freezing, Panhandle West Texas, Northwest Texas, Texoma. 20s. Maybe 30. North winds making it feel like the teens. Welcome to winter. Highs in the 30s, northern half of the state. Still looking at 40s, southern half of the state, but maybe some 50s still in South Texas on Sunday. And then a reinforcing cold front with a reinforcing shot of very cold air arrives as we get into Monday. Here's Monday morning's low temperature forecast. We're looking at single digits to teens, northwestern half of the state. We're seeing the freezing line pretty much across the entire state except deep South Texas and the Rio Grande Valley, meaning everyone except deep South Texas, McAllen, Brownsville, South Padre Island will be below freezing Monday morning. Now, here's Monday's high temperature forecast. Still very cold, especially northern half of the state where we'll be lucky to be in the 20s and 30s. Southern half of the state, 40s, and technically, low to mid-50s, Rio Grande Valley. So, I can't complain down there. It's cool, but it's not as bad as up north. A bit of warmer air tries to filter into the borderland and the southern Big Bend, too. 52 Monday afternoon in El Paso. Well, here's Tuesday morning. And again, by this point, we may have a winter storm ongoing in southeastern parts of the state. Remember when I said we were going to have a reinforcing shot of colder air? Well, here it is. These are not wind chills. These are temperatures. Temperatures near or below 0. Northern Panhandle, Dalhart, you're probably going to drop to 1 below. Perryton, 0 to 1 below. 6 in Amarillo, 5 in Pampa, 10 in Lubbock, 12 in Childress. We're looking at teens, northwestern half of the state, 20s all the way down to South Texas, Southeast Texas, the Coastal Bend, the Golden Triangle, East Texas. The only ones not getting below freezing Tuesday morning / Monday night, the Rio Grande Valley. Everyone else, you're going to be below freezing, meaning anything that falls Monday into Tuesday morning that is wet is going to freeze into a block of ice. Tuesday's high temperature forecast. Now, this is also going to be a bit dependent on how much snow cover we have. If we have a snowpack in southeast Texas, the coastal plains, the Golden Triangle, temperatures are probably going to struggle to get a degree or two above freezing. Probably will happen for a few hours Tuesday afternoon, but then things will drop out, and we'll see ice galore Tuesday night. Highs across the state, mostly in the 30s Tuesday. 50 in McAllen, 50 in Brownsville, congratulations to y'all. You'll probably be the warm spot outside of South Padre Island. The rest of the state, you're going to be lucky to be in the 30s on Tuesday. And then as we get into Wednesday morning, teens. Now, this may be a day we will have to watch the Rio Grande Valley for a freeze. Notice McAllen, 31. Brownsville, about 33. So we may have a freeze in even the Rio Grande Valley Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. The rest of the state, forget about it. Temperatures in the teens to low 20s. Easily everything below freezing. Any water, slush, snow on roads that hasn't already gone bye-bye will be a brick of ice Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. And the cool weather continues after that. We may see a bit of a warming trend as we get into Thursday. But overall, conditions-wise, we're expected to remain on the cool side well into the upcoming week across the state of Texas. So, Fun times ahead. Now let's do some comparisons. Why is this not 2021? Well, we're talking about snow chances in southeast Texas, the Golden Triangle, East Texas, the Hill Country. We're not talking about a ice storm, winter storm impacting every county in the state of Texas like 2021, 254 counties. Most folks aren't going to see that. We're not talking about temperatures 20 below zero with wind chills of 35 below zero. We're not talking about temperatures below zero down into South Texas. We're not going to be below freezing for a week. Now, it is going to be very cold, and we're probably going to have some pipe issues. But most folks, even the coldest, will only be below freezing maybe 3 days, 2 to 3 days, and that's mostly the northern third of the state. Now, some of y'all in the rest of the state, yeah, especially you get a snowpack, you may spend a day, maybe 36 hours below freezing, but we're not talking a week. So there's that. And we've dealt with this before. I mean, we do this every few winters, if not almost every winter, at least once. And yeah, I mean, I know Southeast Texas getting snow doesn't happen every winter, but it was maybe 2, 3, 4 winters ago? We had like 3 winter storms in the span of 2 months along the coast. It's rare, but it is not unprecedented or historic. So let's not start throwing that historic hyperbole out. It snows. It's winter. Guess what? It's what happens when you have cold air in place and you get a system out in the northwestern Gulf of Mexico. That happens, and that'll probably try to become a nor'easter that goes and rampages the east coast of the United States with a blizzard at some point later in the week, but that's not our problem. My problem is I'm on the East Coast right now visiting family. You remember Christmas, how we had, tornadoes the day before Christmas and then the day after Christmas? Yeah, I flew home on Christmas afternoon so we could handle the post-Christmas events. So I'm actually up here again trying to get Christmas in. That's supposed to happen tomorrow. So I'm not planning on doing a video tomorrow. If I can fit it in, I will. But to be perfectly honest, I kind of want to get Christmas in. And I'm supposed to fly out of, I'll just give you the lowdown. I'm supposed to fly out of Philly Sunday evening to get back to deal with winter weather mischief in Texas Monday night, Tuesday. You want to guess what's going to attack Philly now? A quick clipper system up the coast, which could drop 3 to 6 inches of snow. So, I mean, you might get to watch me doing, winter weather stuff from, the Jersey Shore at this point, but we'll see. It's always fun when you're trying to plan all this and Mother Nature is like, let's throw more weather mischief and mess it up. So, with that rambling complete, guess what? It is Friday, which means it's time to give a shout out to our Spinny Doomers here on the Texas Weather Center. We want to give a big thank you to Anthony R. Pelosi. Thanks for being a Spinny Doomer member on the Texas Weather Center. Ryan Tucker, thank you, sir, for being a Spinny Doomer here on the Texas Weather Center and for helping sponsor the Texas Weather Center and Texas Storm Chasers content over the next several months into the spring. r/Tornado Chats, thanks for being a Spinny Doomer member here on the Texas Weather Center. Love, live, laugh. Thank you kindly for being a Spinny Doomer member on the Texas Weather Center. Paranoid Pocho, P-O-C-H-O. Thanks for being a Spinny Doomer member here on the Texas Weather Center. Tomas Kamashio, thank you for being a Spinny Doomer member here on the Texas Weather Center. Jen Kim, thanks for being a Spinny Doomer member here on the Texas Weather Center. Justin S., thank you for being a Spinny Doomer member here on the Texas Weather Center. Tanya McGee, thank you for being a Spinny Doomer member here on the Texas Weather Center. And finally, but not least, J.A., thank you for being a Spinny Doomer member here on the Texas Weather Center. So, we're going to keep an eye on data today. I will admit the models have been trending towards a more interesting solution snow-wise overnight into this morning. I'm seeing some new data come in now as I record this video. So, if we'll be posting updates throughout the day on social media and whatnot. If needed, we'll put something out on the weather blog this evening. We'll get some at least updated graphics out with the snow and ice probabilities. But again, the big story statewide will be the prolonged duration of hazardous cold next week, which will be particularly dangerous to those who don't have a place to stay warm. So please remember the 4 Ps: pipes, pets, plants, and people. I probably should have started off with people, but, well, I'm dyslexic, and it's Friday, so. That being said, also, remember, layer up when you're out and about. The more layers you have on, the better off you're going to be. And if you get warm, you can start shedding them, but at least you have the flexibility. Layers really do help keep you warm, especially with that wind chill. And, of course, The winter storm threat, yes, we're watching it. And yeah, confidence is starting to increase. We're probably going to have some snow in southeastern parts of the state as we go into Monday night and Tuesday. Maybe a bit of snow Saturday night in the Panhandle. That's going to be it for your Texas Weather Roundup this Friday. Again, I'm honestly not sure if I'm going to have something tomorrow. If not, meteorologist Jason Cooley very well may. But, I mean, tomorrow I'm hoping to get Christmas in with my family. And depending on what the weather does, I might have to skedoodle to the airport, pay a abhorrent amount of money to get my behind back to the studio in time to deal with winter weather early next week without the risk of being stranded in the Philly airport. Because as amusing as that would be to do videos out of the Philly airport, I would prefer to have the comfort of my office. So we'll see what happens with that, but maybe Baldy Goes on an Adventure short series on YouTube could be created in that regard. All right, you can get your local weather forecast, interactive weather radar, and more in the free Texas Storm Chasers mobile app. Just search for Texas Storm Chasers where you download apps for your device. You can find us here on YouTube. Just search for the Texas Weather Center. We appreciate everybody who's been hitting that super duper like button. A thumbs up. We appreciate it. You may not like the forecast, but hey, if you appreciate the information, hit that like button for us. It really helps us with the algorithm. And of course, if you want to get notified when we publish new Texas weather videos, just hit that subscribe button. It is free, and it makes the bell thing go whee! All right, that's it. I'm going to go find some more caffeine because clearly I haven't had enough, and this video's almost 27 minutes long. Sorry, magical editor, myself and I, really. But all right, y'all have a great Friday. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. If not, by Sunday, we'll have written updates posted regardless. And we'll see what happens. It could be interesting. Y'all have a great Friday. Enjoy the warm weather. God bless.